Hello, everyone, today we are going to take all the favorite routes of a daredevil one with a death wish. These are the most treacherous roads that have humbled several egos, vertigo-inducing mountain passes, isolated dirt and gravel roads that are in pretty gnarly conditions, and crazy winding roads that will put your driving skills to the test. And some roads here will lead you to the middle of nowhere. You better hope the car doesn't die on you. Without further ado, let's hit the road to the most dangerous routes you'll find on a daredevil's bucket list. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and get notified. Number 1. Tianmen Mountain Road. China, also called the road to the sky, this steep mountain pass in China's fantasy world offers the most breathtaking views of the imposing surrounding mountains. But drivers are warned not to be taken in too much by the magnificent old trees, vines, and vegetation of the area. They might forget about the 99 hairpin turns they have to make to the top of the driveway. Number 2. Padiopoloperdikaki Road. Greece. We'll start with this treacherous road in Greece, located in the northeastern part of Aetolia Akarnania. This is a narrow surface road that is bedeviled with large bumps and dreadful potholes. These loathsome potholes and bumps not only make for the most uncomfortable ride on this roadway, but they also cause vehicles to choke on the steep climbs. Being mostly unpaved, you can imagine how dangerous it is driving on this narrow and snaky dirt road. And it gets very slippery when it rains. The clay surface becomes a thick mud blanket which swallows up every vehicle passing through. Over and above that, the area is prone to mist and fog, which can get quite dense. Driving in the low visibility condition becomes a problem, causing the numerous perils that are reported each year when daring drivers challenge themselves to deadly thrills. This route has humbled even the most daring and confident drivers. So, unless you are an adrenaline junkie, you might want to cancel your trip to this road for now. Number 3. Atlantic Ocean Road, Norway. This stretch of road is known as the world's most beautiful drive. It's become something of a natural tourist, with both locals and foreigners falling in love with the amazing coastal scenery, culture and history as they drive along the road on a sun-soaked and serene summer day. But very few people know of the rough experience that's in store for drivers who find themselves on this very same road when the storm is brewing. The harsh foam spray journey that drivers experience is a sharp contrast to the scenic trip they had with the ocean. Was slack call. This 8.3-kilometer drive is the only road connecting Hub Certificate Averley municipalities through a series of 8 bridges running across a group of small islands and islets. This means that the road will take you right into the Atlantic Ocean, and a high-tide ocean waves crash ferociously against the road, and the water that finds its way over the road is capable of washing vehicles right into the ocean, turning the love affair for the scenic road sour really quickly. Yes, we come to the end of our video on the most dangerous roads in the world. We hope you're going to avoid these traps. Number 4. Because Sons Douglas France Road. This is a treacherous road in France running under 13 feet deep line of thrashing waves. It is impossible to use it when it's all flooded. However, there is a short window period with the tide goes down and the road that becomes visible again. It is only then, when the tide is down, that vehicles can move on it. It's only about an hour. Even then, the road becomes slippery and almost completely covered in seaweed. When the high tide comes in again, the road surface floods the whole 13 feet inside the Atlantic. The road is a natural stone passage connecting the coastal town of Boulevard-sur-Mer and the French mainland to the island of Noirmoutier. It spans the whole 4.5 kilometers. The only other road like it is the Causeway Engine, so Korea, which runs under 3 kilometers. What makes the stone round France dangerous is that drivers who miscalculated tide timing will find themselves sinking in the middle of the road, at which point the only way to survive is to abandon the car and swim for shore. Number 5. The Deception Pass Bridge, Washington Road. Google tried to tinker with the Google Earth code. The platform had a meltdown, and was not able to project the redeeming up images correctly on the platform. The malfunctions meet some of the world's famous roads, and bridges flop and look as if they were levitating. the Deception Pass Bridge looks surreal, works like it had no backbone. It proved impossible to drive on the sharp inclines of the bridge, if it was built as it was projected during the bizarre glitch of Google Earth. Thankfully that's not how the iconic Deception Pass Bridge looks in reality. The bridge is parallel to level ground, so it does have a backbone. However, that's not to say that visitors should drop their cautions regarding this bridge. Its height from the roadway to the rushing water directly below is about 55 meters, the road is also quite narrow, making for a hair-raising ride every time there is oncoming traffic. The most disturbing thing about this bridge is deadly history with suicide jumpers. There's been over 425 jumpers who took their own lives jumping off one of the bridges. Number 6. Highway Alaska Road. This is the most isolated road in the world, so if you're going to drive along this road, food and your survival supplies packed like most roads in Alaska. The Jamestown Highway passes through the most remote, at least at habitat areas. There are 666 kilometers between the Arctic Sea oil fields and yet another dispersed town in Alaska. That's miles and miles away from civilization. Did you notice how long the road is? 666 kilometers. We can talk about this infamous number for another hour and somehow connected on the highway to the Antichrist, but that'll be too long and it will bore you to death. Say the road is 414 miles long and leave it at that. Movie on this road is plagued with potholes and small flying rocks, which are dangerous because it ships start on your windshield and turning to a crack. Drivers here go slow with the windows down and radio blaring. Come winter, roads in Alaska reclaimed their title of being the sexiest roads. Ice road truckers are all you'll see during the highway, and even then, they'll be far and in between. If your car happens to break down on you in the middle of this road, you're on your own for days, not a week. Number 7. The Youngest Bolivia Road. Bolivia is on the right-hand side of the road, the youngest road. You have to keep the left. This is a roadway you are sure to find on every list of the most dangerous routes on Earth. The terrible driving conditions every carry cyclists have earned this road the nickname Death Road. Most of the roads barely wide enough for traffic to move in both directions. You can imagine how nerve-wracking it must speed up the vehicle that's on the flip side of the wrong turn in your falling off 600 meters. And Steve, this that's not enough. Drivers and riders have to look out for unexpected large rocks jutting out of the road at almost every turn, and the heavy rain and fog that brings the already dangerous road to a head. Drenched, the road forms a small waterfall that pours heavily from the close side onto every lower level of the roadway. Throw in the occasional mudslides and tumbling rocks, and you have yourself a bloody medley of terrifying driving conditions. Number 8. Grueling Tunnel. China Road. Also known as the Long Corridor Cliffs, Grueling Tunnel is one of the deadliest roads in the world. It is located in Henan Province, central China, and was constructed to provide access to a remote village at the top of the mountain. This is not an easy way up. The tunnel that makes the road is a 4-meter width carved by hand along the side of a mountain. What passes through intervals and roughly carved pillars, which although not entirely safe are the only things keeping cars from plummeting to the tunnel's twists, turns and slippery blind spots make for take driving that is sure to leave any drivers financial, even though the local saying either way easily through the tunnels. Don't be fooled into thinking it's an easy drive up steep inclines to be too much, even for skilled driver who's not familiar with the road. As the locals say, you need monk-like focus to drive on this deadly road. One tiny mistake and it's big trouble in Little China. Number 9. Zoji La Pass Road. India. This incredibly narrow mountain pass in the Himalayas is located at a stupefying 3,500 meters above sea level. It is an important route connecting Ladakh and Kashmir Valley, but anyone who's been here will tell you it is not the place for a joyride. Being the second highest pass in the world, the Zoji La is reckoned to be one of the most gnarly passes in the world. But the terrifying drop-offs and absence of barriers on this strip of rock road are not the only things giving bold drivers the willies. Not only is the narrow driveway tricky to maneuver, but it is also not uncommon for large herds of cattle to block traffic on this road. With no way to turn around, drivers have to stop and wait until all the livestock have safely passed before they can continue with their journey. Backing up on this inclining narrow road is tantamount to a death wish. Number 10. Killarpangi Road. India, a hair-raising road only for daredevils and drivers with nerves of steel. This rocky mountain pass is India's most dangerous road. It is a 114 kilometers roadway built by the locals hundreds of years ago to connect to the mythical valley of Pangi. It is however only usable only during summer since snowfall renders the road impassable and leaves the Pangi Valley completely isolated for months. The roadway is in bad shape, and it is only about as wide as a car's width. One wrong move could send the vehicle 760 meters down a vertical drop. The absence of a guardrail, slippery mud, vertical cliffs, and the dangerously overhang rocks at every turn make this harrowing, dirt and gravel route look more terrifying. Winters are particularly hazardous since, even a thin layer of snow on the roadway makes it slippery and messy. If you are not a daredevil with a bucket list that includes a 2-day ascent on a frightening, single-lane, isolated mountain road, better stick to watching these roads on travelogues.